We're going on an incredible journey. Driving through one of the most crowded and chaotic countries on Earth.
This is chaos.
Taking two very different cars.
No way! How many headlights?
On two very different road trips.
What's this? Does the rubbish come free?
Risking life and limb on some of the most dangerous roads in the world.
Look at this! Oh my God! Look, he's on the fast lane.
It seems like we're off properly started.
But this journey has a very serious purpose.
India's car industry is booming, helping power the country's extraordinary economic growth.
But out in India's heartlands, the economic revolution is leaving hundreds of millions of people behind.
He's telling his land is here, but I am also here.
As India embraces a motoring revolution, we'll be asking whether this vast nation can really turn itself into a global superpower.
We have been fighting for the last 35 years.
And what impact such a transformation could have on India's ancient traditions. And the rest of the world. 12 days ago, we set off from Delhi on the journey of a lifetime.
It's a beast.
I don't want to be rude, but this car, Anita, is vulgar.
My top-of-the-range Mahindra Bolero has taken me into a very modern India.
All this area around here was fields of wheat, barley and mustard.
I've seen how the Indian car industry has become a barometer of incredible economic growth.
Quite like one of these at home.
While my trusty 13-year-old Hindustan ambassador has taken me into a world that the boom has left far behind.
Oh, man. It's really hard.
Just over halfway through, we now face the most challenging and dangerous stages of our epic journeys, heading for the megaport of Chennai. So it's day 12, and almost 1,000 miles in, I'm about to enter Mumbai, India's biggest city, a seething mass of around 20 million people.
The traffic is pretty horrific in Bombay this morning, and what I've realised is, do not stop for pedestrians, because if you stop for one, 1 million appear from nowhere.
This is India's financial hub, home to its stock market, more than 20 billionaires, and of course, the biggest movie industry in the world. I'm going to get myself a tiny taste of the Mumbai high life.
He's a genuine Bollywood star.
Imran Khan is one of Bollywood's hottest properties. He's already living a movie star lifestyle in his £1 million beachfront apartment.
Hello, Imran. Anita. And how are you?
As well as starring in action movies like Delhi Belly, here in India, Imran's also the face of Coca-Cola and Levi's.
So this is your baby?
That's my baby.
Of course, no film star lifestyle is complete without the obligatory trophy car. In Imran's case, it's a brand new Porsche.
This is the first big thing that I'd ever bought in life. I remember being 8, 9 years old. They would have these photographs of these exotic foreign cars and things that you could never dream of seeing in real life. You hear the name Lamborghini, Porsche, Ferrari, These things were unheard of.
Yeah, it's changed totally. Oh, he's getting kisses blown at him. That's great. So the Porsche Cayenne.
So I needed a car that could carry my stuff. You know, I have a chauffeur who'll drive the car. I've got my valet, and pretty often my hairstylist travels with me.
You're 28 and you're living the dream right now.
Yeah, pretty much. It's something that... Whoa!
What happened?
Some guy rear-ended another...
There was a crash.
Yeah, the guy's trying to pull up alongside to wave and...
He was probably trying to get a glimpse of you.
Yeah, he was yelling.
You just caused an accident.
It happens.
Far from Mumbai, with my co-driver Abra, I'm taking my stately ambassador through the countryside of Uttar Pradesh. Out here, there are millions of people who've never owned any car, let alone a Porsche. But that's beginning to change as car manufacturers eye a potentially vast new market.
And this is quite an amazing journey, really, because for most of the people that we're going to see, this will be the first car their family has ever had.
I'm joining a convoy of brand new cars, all of them made by an Indian manufacturer, Maruti Suzuki. Maruti is bringing this convoy to a rural car fair, specially organised to flog as many of them as possible. Rolling up in my ageing ambassador seems to have marked me out for special treatment. It might be that they hope I'll loosen my wallet and trade in the Ambi for a brand new Maruti Suzuki.
पहली कार से पहला घर मकान पहली कार यही एक सपना होता है आदमी का मतलब जिस दिन गाड़ी ले रहा होता तो पूरे गांव में पूरा पता होता है कि वो गाड़ी ले रहा है 10-20 लोग तो एक साथ आते हैं उसको गाड़ी की डिलीवरी कराने के लिए
Better off farmers are snapping up these small cars. Maruti alone is shifting around 600 every single day.
How do you think that owning a car is going to change your life?
आसानी से आ जा सकते हैं आराम से जा सकते हैं अपनी सुविधा अनुसार जा सकते हैं सब परिवार महंगा नहीं तो कीमत कम है और अन्य गाड़ियों की अपेक्षा इसकी कीमत कम है
With every sale comes a very Indian ceremony, as a holy man blesses the cars and all those who sail in them.
There's no coconut. No, do you have coconut? We're trying to get a coconut. A coconut is auspicious, isn't it? Why do you...
Yeah, because they say the water inside the coconut is most purest of all.
The purest water of all.
All this blessing is especially important as many of the new customers don't actually know how to drive. Puneet Kumar has come to collect a car for his father, who lives 2 hours away. And I've been invited back to meet the lucky family.
Just driving off back to their village.
So far, my journey through rural India has shown just how desperately poor the countryside remains. But just like the cities, things here are slowly changing. The growing sales of companies such as Maruti Suzuki show that even out here, a new middle class is beginning to emerge.
Here it is, home. That's wonderful, thank you. Hello, namaste. It's got that very distinctive new car smell. Try the horn, very important in India. You decided to buy this brand new Suzuki, but for much less money, you could have bought a lovely, traditional Indian car like this. You're convinced that your Suzuki is better than my Hindustan Ambassador? Well, good luck with your Suzuki, and I hope you enjoy it.
India's vast rural population is a huge potential market, bigger than the whole of Europe. This is a country on the brink of massive change. But today's experience at the car fair makes me wonder if everyone is quite ready for the modern world.
Wow, it was such a big deal for those guys getting their new cars, and it's kind of symbolic of their kind of, them, I suppose, improving their lives. But it's also a bit worrying when you think that most of them didn't know how to drive, and they're going to hop into their cars and head out onto the already chaotic Indian roads, and it makes you realise why, the roads are so dangerous here.
The authorities have begun the job of fogging the slum with insecticide spray to kill off malaria-carrying mosquitoes. Places like this seem like visions of hopelessness. Dharavi's people locked into a cycle of hunger and disease. But even here, there's evidence that right at the bottom, India is beginning to lift itself out of centuries of poverty. One local businessman, Pushparaj Thiagaraj, runs a thriving food factory, right in the middle of the slum.
This is Bombay mix, as you say.
I know all about Bombay mix. It's perfect with a cold glass of beer.
From small beginnings, Pushparaj's company now produces more than 10 tons of snacks a week.
How many of these does he produce in a day?
Around 800 pieces.
A day?
Yeah, a day.
Looks like quite a skill to have. He's very fast as well. Can I have a go?
Yeah, you can try it.
Okay, I'll be there.
Ji. And press. Rotate. You're good. For the first time, you're good.
Yeah, right. I get a round of applause. Kaise?
Even with all this hard work, it's still a struggle to bring in big profits.
How much do you sell them for?
This 1 kg we sell at 53 rupees, wholesale price.
So less than £1. And who do you sell it to?
This goes to hotels throughout Bombay. We give it to wholesalers, and so, retailers also sell it from us. They take it from us and sell it.
But you're doing well, right?
Yeah, we are doing well. We are growing.
Indian businesses like this operate in the toughest environment you can imagine. This is capitalism in the raw, a sell or die culture. What it breeds, through locals like Pushparaj, is an incredible spirit of entrepreneurship that makes me feel that India, in spite of all its problems, really could become an economic superpower.
Two weeks in, and I'm about to reach India's east coast. The massive changes in the Indian economy are also bringing political upheaval. And nowhere is that more evident than my next stop, the city of Calcutta, capital of the federal state of West Bengal.
We're coming into Kolkata, as they say in Bengali, or Calcutta, as it used to be known. And this, Abra, is your home, isn't it?
Yeah, it is.
Until 1947, this city was the capital of the British Raj, and its colonial past is still very much in evidence.
But it is also the home of an MB. It's the home of Hindustan Motors that makes the Ambassador.
Yeah, and even our MB was born here.
The Hindustan Ambassador is based on the old British Morris Oxford, and they're still making them right here after more than half a century.
Whoa, that's amazing. Look at that car. Jigger, this is a lovely car.
Yeah, this is the pride of Calcutta.
Oh, I like it. Can I go for a spin?
Yeah, please.
I was keen to see if there'd been any upgrades since my Ambi was made.
Oh, it's a different vehicle. This is fantastic. It's so smooth.
You will find it much more responsive as compared to your older vehicle.
So this is the modern Ambassador,
Yes.
a car that's over 60 years old,
Absolutely.
remade for
Yes.
modern India.
Yeah, all the modern facilities we are offering. The safety, the comfort, look at the legroom, look at the headroom.
You've got a bit of turban space here.
Even the door pads, we all believe that there cannot be any other vehicle which can be better to take the kind of abuse which we all go through. Yeah.
I like it. It's a car designed for abuse.
Absolutely.
Salesman Jigar Shah, though, has his work cut out. Nearly 3 million cars were built in India last year. Only 8,000 were ambassadors. At a less than impressive 0.25% market share, it's a far cry from the days when the Ambi really did rule the roads.
So, Jigar, you can't get away from the fact that the Ambassador is a bit of a relic, isn't it? I mean, this is a car that was designed 70 years ago.
We are struggling. I would definitely mention that we're struggling to sell more, but we're still finding enough takers to make our business run.
Like the Ambassador, the city of Calcutta seems to have been a bit overshadowed in modern India. On the other side of the country, the brash giant Mumbai seems to be leading the charge. But things here could be about to change politically. Because I happen to have arrived in Calcutta at a very special time. Today is election day. West Bengal has been ruled for nearly 35 years by the Indian Communist Party. But today, supporters of the main rival Congress Party can smell a long-hoped-for victory.
Oh, this is kind of elections Indian style.
The local TV station is buzzing with excitement, but just like the rest of this very strange country, politics Indian style are complicated.
I'll tell you what, I have no idea what's going on here.
To try and make some sense of the turmoil, I've collared local political pundit Suman Mukherjee.
Do you think we're seeing a fundamental change in Indian politics today?
I don't think so.
Why not?
Because, only electorally the left is going, but the left changed itself 5 years ago.
The left has become right, and the right has become the opposite.
The right has become more left. And this is a prize that they are getting for becoming left.
It sounds like a uniquely Indian situation.
It's a very Indian situation. It's very difficult for an Englishman to comprehend.
In the countryside outside Calcutta, the electoral battle has turned decidedly nasty, highlighting some of the problems of India's industrial expansion. 5 years ago, the communist government of West Bengal moved thousands of farmers off their land to make way for a giant car factory owned by the Indian conglomerate Tata. Some of the farmers, like Mahadev Das, weren't even compensated.
যারা একদিন রাস্তায় নেমেছিলেন, যারা একদিন মিটিং মিছিল করেছিলেন, তাদের মধ্যে আমার বাবা কাকারাও ছিল। যারা সমাজবাদ, যারা সমাজতন্ত্রের কথা বলেছিল, তারা যদি সেই পুঁজিবাদের বিরুদ্ধে লড়াই করার কথা বলেছিল, সেই পুঁজিপতির স্বার্থে জমি কেড়ে নিতে যদি কৃষকের ঘরে এরকম পুলিশি আক্রমণ নামিয়ে নিয়ে আসে, সেই সরকার কি আর জনগণ রাখে?
Sensing a political coup, the opposition party backed the farmers. Tata, not wanting to become the centre of a political tug-of-war, emptied these factories and rebuilt them right on the other side of India. The land, though, still officially belongs to the car company. So farmers like Mahadev don't have any hope of a new livelihood.
So just through here, Mahadev. Okay.
Or their land. This is the first time in 5 years that Mahadev has been back where his farm once stood.
This man
আমার
says
জমিতে আমি যাব
that he has land here.
তোমার জমি তো ঠিক আছে, that is okay. কিন্তু Tata, once this boundary has taken, I'm just requesting you, you take the permission.
I suppose the confusion is that he believes that he owns the land and Tata believes that they own the land. It's quite confusing, isn't it?
Definitely the land is belongs from Tata. Only for his statement you can't don't expect that the land is his. Yes, he is also man. He is telling his land is his. But I am also agreed.
Okay, all right, I think we'd better go. Come on. I think this is a real dilemma, not just here in West Bengal, but across India, because wherever industrialists want to build factories, almost inevitably the land is owned by farmers, and these disputes make it very difficult for people to invest here in India, to develop India.
Back in Calcutta, the election results are in. And as expected, the oddly capitalist-friendly Communist Party is out, and the newly left-leaning Congress Party is in. It's the first regime change for 35 years, and a new governor heads into power.
So there she goes, off to the governor's mansion to be sworn in.
But some things never change. The new governor is being transported in time-honoured fashion in an ambassador.
In the wonderful day of our life, we have been fighting for the last 35 years.
Oh my, that's so sticky.
No, mate.
What is it?
What are the body? This is my body.
What are the body?
What are the body? What are the body?
Day 15. And moving on from Mumbai, this 6-lane highway is just the kind of infrastructure this country needs if it's going to sustain its phenomenal economic growth. But as ever in India, nothing is quite as simple as it seems.
If I come across as a little bit stressed, it's because I am. Up until now, driving has been, it's been chaos and it's been frightening, and I've had people coming towards me, I've had people reversing down the motorway, but the speeds haven't been that fast. Here they reach 100 miles an hour. This is where, if you've got a fast car, you come and put your foot down. And that to me is a very scary thought.
More than 100,000 people die on India's roads each year. The Mumbai-Pune Expressway is one of the most dangerous of all. Just this short stretch claims 2 lives every single week. And it's soon obvious why. Indian drivers think nothing of driving on the wrong side of the road, even on a motorway.
Oh, look, a car coming towards me. It's a dual bloody carriageway. What's wrong with these people? I'm in the fast lane of a motorway. A motorbike coming towards me, and look at this! Oh my God! Look, he's on the fast lane. You idiot!
It's a long time since I've seen any sight of a motorway. Across India, less than half of the country's 2 million miles of road are even paved. I can't help feeling that the terrible state of so much of the infrastructure has to be holding up development. It's certainly holding up my journey.
Guys, can you give it push?
Push.
Is that okay?
Push.
Okay.
Quite funny at first, but it seems like we're off properly.
Fortunately, an entire village turns up to give me a helping hand.
Thank you very much. Cheers. Thank you. Namaste. Brilliant. Woo! We got out at the end.
I might have over 1,000 miles still to go, but I'm planning a detour. Heading for the coast to explore the impact of all these cars on an extraordinary natural wilderness.
Meanwhile, making good time, I'm planning to take some time away from the car myself. Leaving my co-driver with the Bolero, I've flown ahead to investigate India's traffic problems in the city of Bangalore. Bangalore is India's answer to California's Silicon Valley and provider of call centres and software writers to the world. This might be India's most modern city, but like everywhere else, anarchy seems to rule the roads. Here, even the traffic cops take their lives in their hands, as Inspector Geeta Kulkarni has found to her cost.
All the passengers they are screaming, the bus going on me. I'm experiencing the heat of the bus, but I feel unconscious. And all my staff, public thought I was dead, I'm gone. But when they came, I said, I want some water. Nothing happened to me.
Let me get this straight. You were knocked down by a bus.
Yeah.
You fell under the bus.
Yeah.
And the bus
passed
went over you,
on me.
And you didn't have a scratch on you.
Nothing, not even a scratch on me.
I suppose.
You will not believe this actually.
Because we're in India, so possibly divine intervention?
I think, as you said, maybe divine intervention.
Possibly.
After Geeta's little pep talk, it's time for me to head out onto one of the city's busiest intersections.
They're all going to come towards us. We are literally taking our life in our own hands.
Show your hand like this, stop here, this side. Yeah, stop, and then you have to call them like this.
I'm in training. Oh gosh, here they come.
Come back, you come back, Anita, come back.
Apparently I'm causing more chaos than normal. It usually runs very smoothly. My presence is causing a bit of a disturbance.
Many countries face traffic problems, but what sets India apart seems to be an utter disregard for rules. And as night falls, that disregard turns to mayhem.
Come on. Drink driving is a huge problem across India, and Bangalore is no exception. So every Saturday night, their busiest night, the traffic police set up a checkpoint and randomly breathalyze drivers. He's at 116. The limit is 40 and he's at 116, so he's well over the drink driving limit.
Many Indian drivers simply don't believe they need to obey the law.
Okay. That's 158.3. So Sheila, he's over 4 times the limit.
Take minute.
You must be knowing Mr. M.N. Reddy?
Yes, sir, definitely, sir.
He's my co-brother.
Okay, sir.
So, if you can do something to help me?
Did he say that he's related to somebody important?
Yes, he is related to, my audition.
So somebody quite senior in the police.
Yeah,
is his brother or brother-in-law?
Brother-in-law.
So he was saying, let me off because I'm related to somebody important.
Not let me off, he wanted some kind of a favor.
These drivers, it seems, will try anything, even resorting to blatant bribery.
These two have been pulled over. And the chap in the hooded top, I've just seen him try and give the police officer an envelope. Don't know what's in it, but I can suspect that it's probably a little bit of a sweetener to try and get off. I'm incredibly surprised at what I've seen tonight. In the last 3 hours, I've seen people try and escape through the checkpoint, bribe the officers, plead with the officers, and also try and convince them they're not drunk, even though they're obviously 3 to 4 times over the limit. So there's a huge problem of drink driving in India, and the police have a very tough challenge ahead of them.
One man, though, is on a mission to combat this headlong road spin of drunkenness and death.
Hello, Pradeep.
Ex-rally champion Pradeep Nair has set up India's first school for advanced drivers. He's offering some of the local speed merchants lessons in how to really handle a car, with the hope of making them a bit more responsible.
Should I feel nervous right now?
No, not at all. Completely relaxed. I'm not really going to go mad.
Pradeep believes that learn to control a car effectively off-road and you'll be a much safer driver on it.
No, I threw out of my chair.
Having been shown Pradeep's ropes, it's my turn.
And how is this going to help Indian drivers?
It'll help you with your steering control.
Yeah.
You're getting used to sliding the car. You're getting used to recovering from a skid.
Yeah. Oh, that's such a rush.
I'm sure his motives are right, but I've a hunch that teaching Indians to drive like rally champs isn't going to lessen the carnage on the roads.
That's when you panic, see?
I did
Shouldn't
panic.
Okay, come
Okay,
on, let's go
reverse.
back. Reverse.
It's stuck.
Day 16. Another stretch of highway and yet another accident. Guys, what happened here?
ये ड्राइवर वाला है बाइक देखने से मार देगा ऐसे राइट साइड में पकड़ दिया था.
Now here it comes in, look at that, what a giant. So we were just driving along and found this truck which has crashed down into this ditch. Apparently there was a cyclist wobbling along, and to avoid the cyclist he just had to put the truck in the ditch. But fortunately for them, there's a big road building project just over here, and they've got this heavy machines that can help lift it out. Come out! There's a bloke underneath, and he was proposing to stay under there while they lifted it out. It's all very makeshift here. Well, that was pretty neat, wasn't it? They got it out in just a matter of minutes. Miraculously, this time, no one is hurt. But with hundreds of miles still to go, it's really starting to get me down.
It's really, really exhausting driving in India because people drive like complete idiots. And after a while, you just begin to think this is so reckless and careless of other people's kind of well-being. It just really exhausts you. I'm glad that we finally arrived at the hotel.
The massive increase in car ownership also has huge environmental implications. Not just for India, but for the whole world. Cars are a major contributor to the build-up of greenhouse gases and to global warming. And in the next 10 years, it's thought that the amount of carbon dioxide from Indian cars will increase 5-fold. I'm heading for the Sundarbans, a huge area of mangrove swamps and low-lying islands at the mouth of the river Ganges. It's one of the most important and delicate ecosystems in the world. Where I'm going, there aren't any roads, so for the moment, I'm leaving my trusty Ambi behind and taking to the water. The Sundarbans are one of the wonders of the natural world, sanctuary to hundreds of species, including the endangered Sundarbans tiger. But some of these delicate islands are slowly being washed away. Dr. Pranabez Sanyal has spent his career studying them.
Oh, man. Seriously, Doctor, it's very muddy. Are you going to be okay? Oh, Doctor, I'm not sure that this was such a good idea, landing here, but we do get a sense of just how muddy this mud is.
It's muddy, absolutely.
And so what effect are these changes in the Sundarbans having on the environment?
A lot of areas will come underwater.
So this...
Already we have measured where we don't have embankments in the sea-facing islands during the period from 1969 as on today. Some 20% of the area of the sea-facing islands, they have gone.
They've already gone. They've gone 20%.
Many factors are responsible. Some are natural phenomena. But the real fear is that increasing levels of CO2 from fossil fuels will lead to progressively rising sea levels. It could have terrible implications for the Sundarbans and the unique tigers and other wildlife that inhabit them.
It's not just the tigers that are going to suffer if the sea level continues to rise. Take a look at this. There are 4 million farmers here in the Sundarbans, and most of their farms are below high tide. They're only protected by these mud banks.
As car ownership grows and India industrialises, billions more tonnes of carbon will be pumped into the atmosphere. But high-tech Bangalore is home to one of the pioneers of greener motoring.
I'm swapping India's best-selling SUV for India's first and only electric car, both owned by Mahindra, sold in the UK as the G-Wiz, but known here as the Rover. And the first thing to notice about it is that it has no exhaust, which means zero emissions. So incredibly environmentally friendly, but how does she take to the roads of India? Very quiet. Here we go. It's pretty much silent. That's good. Which is quite dangerous when people jump out in front of you, so the horn is essential on this car.
The G-Wiz was launched in Britain to what you might politely call mixed reviews. And so far, take-up in India hasn't been huge.
I think it's quite ambitious of Mahindra to want to produce 30,000 of these a year, as India is yet to sort out its power problems. Electricity isn't widely available. Every day we've been here, there's been power cuts. Single, yes, one way. Right, I'm flooring this baby. I'm going to put her into booster mode. Oh, yeah.
In theory, electric cars are exactly what India and the rest of the world needs. But in the helter-skelter consumerism of modern India, it's hard to imagine this car competing with the allure of more conventional petrol vehicles.
While I've been exploring the mangrove swamps by boat, my ambassador has been driven on. Now I've flown to the city of Vishakhapatnam to catch up with it again. From here, it's still a massive drive into mountains that are inhabited by an ancient and threatened indigenous tribe. It'll take me onto some of the most remote roads yet. But it seems that in my absence, the ambi has really suffered.
What's happened? The fuel gauge says it's completely full, but we have been driving for about 2.5 hours, and we've just run out of fuel. So look at the fuel gauge there. I'll turn on the... Can you see that? It goes right up. I think that's broken, don't you?
No, this will be all right.
You know, it can't be over full. It can't be over full after 2.5 hours. But, and it wasn't. As it turns out, it was empty. Touch is right. We've got a slight problem, which is, Rupert, come here, mate, which is we haven't got a tow rope. So Rupert's managed, the cameraman...
Safety harness.
Has used his safety harness,
will come in handy here.
We're going to use to...
Hopefully it's going to be strong enough. We're trying to find an anchor point for the tow rope that is rust-free. They all seem to be pulling off. So, but that's moving it, isn't it?
Are you sure this is going to be strong enough to hold the car?
It's not a heavy car, is it? It's just...
It's not a heavy car, it's solid steel. To be honest though, we haven't got much choice. We've got 4 kilometres to do like this, and we've got to be really, really careful, otherwise I'm going to crash into the car in front. Obviously the handbrake doesn't work either. So.
Hey guys, it's on, okay, let's go.
Let's go! So dangerous.
4 kilometres.
We've got to be really...
I'm still a long way from my rendezvous with Anita in Chennai. Early monsoon rain has grounded the ambi, and I've still got a tribe to visit. But the only way to get where I'm going is on foot. Up there. It's a tough 4-hour trek into the sacred lands of a tribe called the Dongria Khond. Ancient people who are in the midst of an epic battle with modernity, in the shape of a giant aluminium company. This is a classic David and Goliath battle, an ancient tribe living on a sacred mountain up against a giant multinational. Remind you of a movie? Baba Juha. The Dongria Khond are subsistence farmers who've lived here for thousands of years.
Lado, yeah? The chief man. So Lado, could we have a little look around your village? Yeah, that'll be okay.
It's believed that the Dongria are related to Australian Aboriginal peoples, and they're reckoned to be one of the oldest tribes on Earth.
I think these are the kind of private areas where the families hang out. I think they're a bit surprised to see us.
I've been invited to spend the night here. But before I settle in, I'm going to climb a mountain that's very special for what it contains and also for what it represents.
So this is Niamgiri Mountain. This is the sacred mountain of the Dongria people. But it's also incredibly valuable. The rocks we're walking over now are almost solid bauxite, and there's a really rich bauxite seam running through the entire mountain. More than, wow, $2 billion worth, apparently.
The state government has granted rights to a huge mining company called Vedanta to mine the bauxite in this mountain to make aluminium, a crucial material in modern cars. Vedanta has even built a huge refinery. But the Dongria claim mining this mountain will destroy their way of life.
सेटा आमे लाखपदरे से एस पटनायक चित्र पटनायक आसी थिला वेदांतर आसी करे हमको कोन कहला नाय तमर गां स्कूल करबू ए रास्ता करबू बोल कहला.
So what happened when you said no, you didn't want their houses, you didn't want their schools, you didn't want their roads?
আর বেদান রাস্তা আমি যাবো নাই, বেদান রাস্তায় আমি চলবো নাই, বেদান স্কুলে আমি পিলামানে শিক্ষা পাইব নাই. আর যদি আমার সরকার বলে আমকু স্কুল দিও আর এই মাটুর দিও রাস্তা মিশা আমার সরকারকে দিলে আমি খুশিরে আমি করব।
That night, back in the village, the Dongriya started to worship Niamgiri, the god of the mountain. As their religious devotions became ever wilder, and with no sense of an end, I decided to slip off to bed.
I have to say, I mean, if I'd not been here with the entire crew, I would have found that genuinely kind of frightening and unsettling, and it really felt like something, ancient, an ancient tradition being acted out in front of us, and I suppose that's how much there is at stake, really. One of the oldest tribes on Earth crashed
around India. I'm keen to do just one more thing.
I think I should smart myself up before I see Anita.
Can I have a shave, please?
On the surface, the India I've witnessed over the last 3 weeks doesn't seem to have changed that much since the days of the Raj. Amazingly, half the population, some 600 million people, still live off the land. The country is still crippled by poor infrastructure and a chaotic political system. But my journey has shown me that things are beginning to change.
Look at that, a proper Indian haircut. I think Anita's going to be very impressed with me.
I can't believe you've made it.
Made it at last.
Look at you,
Sorry,
hello.
I'm a little bit sweaty.
You're looking very Indian.
Yeah, I had a little
That hair.
Indian makeover to see you. Yeah.
Is that oil?
Coconut oil.
Beautiful.
Yeah,
I know. And welcome to
the
my
ocean.
world.
This is your world.
This is what I've been used to.
I've seen a very different India, I tell you. Really different. But we made it, rough and ready.
It's done it. I
It's
thought
a-
you'd turn up with doors hanging off and...
Yeah, well, their doors are just about holding on. They're a bit broken.
It's fine. It's all right.
Fine.
It's fine.
Justin's poor old ambassador is looking slightly worse for wear. As for my Mahindra, it's made it without a hitch.
They probably thought you were a Bollywood star as you were.
Probably. You know, I did get a few offers in Bombay. Yeah, right. Bollywood stars wouldn't bat an eyelid at this thing. They're all too busy
Really?
driving their Mercs and BMs. BMWs is the car that they all want. So this, yeah.
I've seen cycle rickshaws, bullock carts, donkeys.
I've seen a few of those on the motorway, and that is just causing catastrophe. And then they can't drive, Justin.
No, I know they can't
I know
drive.
that's a big statement to make about a
I've
nation.
done the driving test.
But Indians can't drive. What I'm going to take away from this trip is that this is a really exciting place to be, and it's doing really well. But at the same time, it has serious problems that need to be looked at. But it's changing, and there's hope, and I'm really hopeful for India, and I'm very excited about being a British Indian. I think I've got the best of both worlds. Thank you very much.
There are just hundreds of millions of people in India who basically live in abject poverty. And the big question is, how are those people going to be fed? But also, what happens when they begin to be engaged in the Indian economy?
Think of the release of potential there'll be. Think how this economy could grow if they begin to use their ingenuity and skills to manufacture things. I mean, this could be the biggest economy on Earth.
Next this evening, tensions are mounting in the newsroom in the final part of The Hour.
Town to meet with Vedanta, the aluminium company at the heart of this dispute. Vedanta had agreed to speak to us. They'd even flown a spokesman here to the town. But when they saw us talking to a group of tribal people, they decided to pull out, so no interview. But they have invested a huge amount of money here. This giant aluminium plant cost $1 billion. They've created 1,500 jobs. They've built schools, hospitals, these roads. And they say that without the aluminium from the hill, the plant just isn't viable. Of course, if it closed, that would be the end of the biggest employer in this incredibly deprived region. India will need to increasingly exploit its natural resources to create jobs if it's to lift hundreds of millions of people out of poverty. But from the farmers of West Bengal to the indigenous tribes of Orissa, I've seen how modernisation can be a very brutal process. For some, perhaps, too brutal.
At last, after 3 weeks on the road, I'm nearing Chennai. This region is known as the Detroit of Asia because of its booming car industry, and it symbolises not just India's own growth, but its position on the world stage. Car manufacturers from Ford to BMW all have plants here, and many of India's 500,000 exports leave from Chennai's port. The biggest exporter of all is Korean company Hyundai. Its plant outside Chennai produces an astonishing 600,000 cars a year. The man responsible for hundreds of workers is plant manager Tata Pillai Sarangarajan.
And all these people who were essentially from a village, now their children, they are going to the best schools in Chennai. And if you go to their house, everyone has air conditioner, washing machine.
Car? Do they have a car?
Car, yeah, some people, not all people yet.
Workers here earn as much as 30 times what their parents could have earned.
How long has this gentleman worked here?
இங்க எவ்வளவு வருஷமா work பண்ணிட்டு இருக்கீங்க? 13 years.
I just want to get a sense of how your life has changed.
Financially is better off. Family is stabilized. And எவ்வளவு குழந்தைங்க இருக்கு? He's got married, got a kid.
The £500 a month wage makes these workers well off in India. But by Western standards, that makes them cheap. And hence the attraction for foreign companies like Hyundai.
From here, these Hyundais go all over the world. This one's for India. This grey number is going to Israel. And this one is for the United Kingdom. Korean car, made in India, soon be driven on the streets of UK.
At last, after some 1,500 miles, I'm heading towards the beautiful beachfront at Chennai.
The final leg of the journey. Feeling a little bit sentimental. If that ambassador has made it all the way around without any problems, I will be very surprised.
Monsoons, a dodgy petrol gauge and a long hike up the mountain to see the Dongria have put me way behind schedule. I'm still miles from Anita in Chennai, and my precious Ambi is beginning to complain more and more frequently. I think it may have had enough.
So we've got a few new problems with the poor old Ambassador, which is taking a bit of a battering on these roads. Abra, what's wrong?
The door's not locking.
So it was just swinging open and banging as we were driving along. And not only that, Abra filled the car up this morning, and the petrol cap seems to have bounced off. So we've fashioned a kind of fuse out of paper to keep the petrol from coming out. But we're going to have to sort that out pretty soon. I've done it.
Ah, you got it.
Do you know what I mean? Right, let's go. Let's go. Woo! Jump in, jump in.